So here's an awkward question, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's pretty easy to see, but I know you worked at Coding Dojo. That's where I met you. And then now
Mhm.
you're working at Thinkful, and those are both two different coding boot camps. And so can you tell me, I think it'd be rude to ask which one's better. I feel like that'd be an unfair question, but I feel like, but maybe some of the pros and cons, or like, what are some of the differences you've seen when like coming from one boot camp to another?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I don't necessarily think that there's something as like a good boot camp or a bad boot camp. I really think it boils down to what you want out of the experience and then finding the boot camp
Right.
that matches that. What I will say is the biggest difference between Coding Dojo and Thinkful is that Coding Dojo teaches 3 full stacks, or if you do the online program, I think it's 2 full stacks. So they teach multiple
Hmm.
technologies, whereas Thinkful just teaches JavaScript, HTML, React. So it's a little more
Right.
streamlined in that regard. There's benefits to both. I think if you learn multiple stacks, you become more of a generalist, if you will, which is not a bad thing. And then if you go to a program like Thinkful, you really are a lot stronger in like front end design, perhaps. So I would say that's the biggest difference. And then the other really big difference between the two is that Thinkful is strictly an online program. So we don't have any like brick and mortar locations. It's all online. Everyone's online. And Coding Dojo offers online classes, but also offers in-person classes in certain locations. So I would say if you're
Okay.
someone who knows that, and again, right now, I'm sure it's all up in the air, but if you're someone who knows, like, I need to go to a place, I need to have peers around me, physical people who can help me, then I would go the route of a program like Coding Dojo versus the online setting.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's key too. I think for me, I went to Coding Dojo. I had two full stacks, which meant that I could apply to two different kinds of jobs. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can head the web developer route or the Python route, because that's those are the
Mm-hmm.
two that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a plus. But I do feel because it was two, I did not learn anything very deeply.
Yeah.
So I could do things. I was kind of yeah. So that's a plus and minus, right? There's more opportunity for you to apply to two different kinds of directions, take it two different your career, but also
Yeah.
like I did. I was like I only know this deep, and so
Yeah.
anything more advanced, I'm like I'm out. So
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
2 cents, I
I would
guess.
say that's accurate for sure. That being said, with the students I work with at Thinkful, there are some who feel the same way you do about what they learned there. And so I think it's just also part of the nature of those programs. That's another thing to add to the list of things that you should have if you want to do a boot camp is curiosity and like a desire to learn because you're
Right.
constantly going to be learning. Even when you're done with the program, you're still going to be learning.
Good stuff. I definitely learn all the time on the job. I'm like still picking stuff up.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the hardest part of this bootcamp experience is not so much learning to code, it's actually landing that first job.